The Young and the Restless spoilers. Billy's crossroads, a tale of desire, deceit, and devastation. Billy had always believed that he was living the life he deserved. In the soft glow of the early morning, the world seemed to whisper promises of endless possibilities as he embraced each day with an unassuming smile. With Sally by his side, life had painted itself in gentle hues of affection and security. Sally, with her kind eyes and unwavering loyalty, had shown him the beauty of genuine love, a love that Billy, in moments of clarity, cherished deeply. Yet, even in the sanctuary of their shared life, shadows of temptation lurked in the corners of his heart. For all of Sally's goodness, Billy found himself inexplicably drawn to another. It was as if his soul had been split by an insatiable desire, a desire that had latched onto Phyllis with a magnetic intensity. There was something dangerously alluring about her, something that evoked dreams in Billy's mind. In fleeting moments, his eyes would wander, catching glimpses of Phyllis with a dreamy longing that contrasted starkly with the life he was meant to honor with Sally. In those stolen moments of reverie, Billy's mind painted a picture of passion that promised excitement and the thrill of the forbidden. That fragile equilibrium shattered on an unremarkable evening that would soon be etched in memory as a turning point of irreversible betrayal. The night had begun innocently enough, with the clink of glasses and the murmur of whispered confidences. Under the dim light of a chic bar, the alcohol flowed freely, loosening inhibitions and fueling a reckless bravado in Billy. As fate would have it, that evening was the crucible in which his loyalty was tested. Billy and Phyllis, caught up in a tempest of fleeting passion and intoxicated desire, found themselves drawn together like moths to a flame. Their shared laughter and conspiratorial glances masked the underlying truth. A truth that was about to reveal itself in the most painful manner. The hours dissolved into a haze of reckless decisions. Billy, lost in the allure of a momentary escape, allowed himself to be swept away by the intensity of his feelings for Phyllis. In a hotel room where the outside world faded away, they indulged in a passionate liaison that blurred the lines between fantasy and betrayal. Their shared secret, hidden beneath layers of intoxication and fervor, was a stark contradiction to the commitment that Billy had once sworn to uphold. The taste of the illicit wine mingled with the bitter realization that he was treading on dangerous ground, a ground where love and infidelity danced in a perilous tango. Unbeknownst to Billy, destiny had arranged for the cruelest of witnesses. Sally, whose heart had just begun to swell with the tender echoes of love from Billy's recent gestures, found herself an unwilling spectator to the unfolding nightmare. In a cruel twist of fate, Sally's eyes caught sight of images that seared themselves into her memory, the unmistakable sight of Billy and Phyllis sharing intimate moments over clinking glasses, the furtive glances exchanged between them, and the undeniable evidence of their tryst in the solitude of a hotel room. In that instant, Sally's world crumbled around her. The gentle foundation of trust and affection was replaced by a seismic rupture of betrayal that left her reeling. A scream tore through the quiet of the night, a raw, anguished cry of betrayal that resonated with the depth of her shattered heart. "Billy!" Sally's voice rang out, trembling with a mix of fury and heartbreak. "You bastard! Don't ever come near me again." Her words were not mere accusations. They were a declaration of the irreversible end of what had once been a promise of forever. For Sally, the images of that damning night were a piercing reminder of how love could be so cruelly undermined by one moment of weakness. The betrayal was not just physical. It was a betrayal of trust, of promises, and of a shared future. In the midst of the storm that he had created, Billy was struck by a devastating realization. As Sally's anguished words echoed in his mind, he felt the heavy weight of regret and sorrow settle upon his soul. The truth was inescapable: his heart belonged to Sally. In that moment, Billy understood that his fleeting desire for excitement had cost him the very essence of his happiness. The intimacy he shared with Sally was not something that could be easily replaced by the thrill of an adulterous fling, no matter how passionately it burned in the darkness. Yet, the pain was deeper than regret alone. Billy grappled with the disintegration of his own identity, an identity that had once been rooted in love and mutual respect. In the hotel room, his body had betrayed him in a moment of vulnerability, relinquishing control to impulses he now wished he could erase. The alcohol had been a poor excuse for the cloud of confusion that shrouded his better judgment. In the aftermath, Billy was left to confront the horrifying truth. In a single moment of weakness, he had lost himself, and with him, the chance to honor the love that had always been his guiding light. The night after the betrayal was silent but for the echoing void of remorse. Billy sat alone in the cold light of dawn, the stark contrast between night and day mirroring the duality within him. His mind was a battleground where the beauty of Sally's love clashed with the haunting images of that ill-fated encounter. Every memory of Sally's gentle smile, every shared moment of joy, was now tainted by the weight of his indiscretion. The realization that he had allowed a moment of weakness to redefine the course of his life filled him with a terror that was almost palpable. It was a terror born not of external threats but of the internal betrayal of his own soul. Billy's heart ached with a profound sorrow. A sorrow that was as much for the loss of Sally's trust as it was for the loss of the man he once believed himself to be. With each passing day, the memories of that fateful night grew clearer, each recollection a dagger twisting in the recesses of his conscience. The moral dissonance within him was a constant reminder that the life he had with Sally was built on a foundation of respect and care, qualities that had been callously undermined by his actions. And though the path to redemption seemed shrouded in darkness, there remained a glimmer of hope that he might one day reclaim the love he had so carelessly jeopardized. Yet, hope is a fragile thing. The journey toward forgiveness, if it were even possible, would be steep and fraught with the ever-present reminder of his transgression. Billy's internal struggle was a testament to the complexity of human emotions, a battle between the desires of the moment and the enduring power of true love. In the silence of his solitude, Billy vowed to seek redemption, to mend the broken pieces of his soul and, if fate allowed, rebuild the trust he had so grievously shattered. But he knew that such a path would not be easy. The road to forgiveness was long and winding, and every step forward was a painful reminder of the irrevocable loss of innocence. In the end, the story of Billy, Sally, and Phyllis is not one of simple black and white, but a tapestry woven from the threads of human frailty, desire, and regret. It serves as a haunting reminder that even those who seem happiest can be tempted by the siren call of momentary pleasures, and that sometimes, the very things we desire most can lead us down a path of irreversible pain. Billy's lapse in judgment was not just an act of betrayal against Sally, it was a betrayal of his own integrity, a moment where weakness overtook wisdom. And as the echoes of Sally's anguished cries faded into the stillness of a new day, Billy was left to confront the painful truth. In the realm of love and trust, even a single moment of weakness can shatter a lifetime of promises. Thus, in the silent aftermath of that night, Billy stands at a crossroads, faced with the daunting task of reconciling who he was with who he wishes to be. The journey ahead is uncertain, and the scars of betrayal will forever serve as a reminder of the fragility of human resolve. Yet, within that uncertainty lies the potential for growth, a chance to learn from the past and rebuild a future founded on honesty, respect, and the enduring power of love. The mastermind's game, Phyllis, Billy, and the ruin of love. Phyllis had been waiting for this moment for far too long. She had watched, calculated, and bided her time, knowing that if she played her cards right, she could shatter the fragile love between Billy and Sally. She didn't just want Billy for herself, no, this was something more sinister. She wanted revenge. Revenge against Sally for stepping into her world, revenge against Billy for every time he had underestimated her. And now, everything had fallen into place. The night had gone exactly as she had planned. A few suggestive words, a knowing glance, a drink laced with just the right amount of temptation, Billy had walked right into her trap. And Sally, poor Sally, had arrived at just the right moment, witnessing the ultimate betrayal with her own eyes. But what Phyllis had not anticipated was Billy's reaction. The moment the reality of his actions sank in, Billy shoved Phyllis away from him, his eyes wide with regret and panic. "No. No, this isn't right," he muttered, shaking his head as if trying to shake off the haze of the evening. This was a mistake. Phyllis smirked, amused by his desperation. "A mistake?" "Oh, Billy," she said with mock sympathy, "you didn't seem to think so a few minutes ago." But Billy wasn't listening. His heart was pounding in his chest as he ran out of the hotel room, past the empty corridors, pushing through the doors and onto the cold streets outside. He had to find Sally. He had to make her understand. Sally was already gone. She had walked away as fast as she could, her mind numb, her body trembling with the force of her emotions. The night air was sharp against her skin, but she barely felt it. All she could hear was Billy's voice, his laughter, his whispers in her ear, now tainted, now poisoned by the truth of what she had seen. She had been foolish. Sally prided herself on being strong, on never letting anyone take advantage of her, on always being one step ahead. But this? This was something she hadn't foreseen, hadn't prepared for. She had let her guard down, allowed herself to believe that Billy could be different, that maybe, just maybe, love could be real this time. And now, she was paying the price for her vulnerability. Billy found her near the riverfront, standing by the water's edge, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. His heart clenched at the sight of her, so small, so distant, so utterly broken. "Sally," he gasped, breathless from the chase. "Please. Please, just listen to me." She didn't move. Didn't turn to look at him. The only sign that she had heard him was the way her shoulders tensed. "I messed up," Billy admitted, his voice raw with regret. "I know I did. But you have to believe me, I love you. What happened back there, it wasn't real. It was a mistake. A moment of weakness. It meant nothing." A bitter laugh escaped her lips, sharp as shattered glass. "A mistake," she whispered. "A moment of weakness?" Finally, she turned to face him, and the fire in her eyes nearly brought him to his knees. "Do you think that makes it better?" she asked, her voice shaking. "Do you think that erases what I saw? What I felt?" Billy reached for her, desperate, but she took a step back. "You don't get to do this," she continued, her voice rising. "You don't get to break me and then ask for forgiveness like it's some simple thing. You don't get to tell me it didn't mean anything when it meant everything to me." Billy swallowed hard, his throat tight. "I don't want to lose you." Sally let out a trembling breath, and for a moment, her resolve faltered. But then, something inside her hardened again. "Billy," she said, her voice quieter now, steadier. "I can't do this. I won't." He saw it in her eyes, the finality. The decision she had already made. "I love you," he whispered, as if saying the words could somehow fix what had been broken. Sally didn't answer. She didn't cry, didn't scream, didn't lash out. She simply turned away and walked into the night, leaving Billy standing alone with nothing but the weight of his own mistakes. But there was something Billy didn't know. Something Sally wasn't even sure of yet. As she walked away, a wave of dizziness washed over her, her steps faltering for just a moment. Her hands instinctively moved to her stomach, a sinking feeling settling in her chest. She was late. It was nothing, she told herself. Stress, exhaustion, heartbreak. But deep down, an unsettling possibility whispered in the back of her mind. What if she was pregnant? What if Billy hadn't just broken her heart? What if, in his betrayal, he had destroyed something even more precious, something neither of them could ever take back? Sally closed her eyes against the flood of emotions threatening to overwhelm her. She couldn't think about it now. She needed space. She needed time. She needed to figure out what came next, alone. Billy had made his choice. And now, she had to make hers.